Have you ever been sitting there doing a hobby for hours and hours on end? It's like 1 a.m. and you're sitting there thinking, could I get paid for this? Well, the answer is yes, you could totally get paid for your hobbies. And actually, with whatever's going on in the world right now, there's a lot of people that are turning to their hobbies in order to make some side income and even sometimes leave or replace their 9-to-5 job. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you exactly about how my wife and I did just that. We used our hobbies to be able to replace our 9-to-5s and how you can do the same and give you a real live example of a hobby that you can turn into a business. Hey everybody, my name is Doug, and for the past 5 years, my wife and I have been digital entrepreneurs. That means we've been making all of our money from our online businesses. And we've done everything from selling products on Amazon to even being influencers. And right now what we do is we actually coach students on how to start their own courses or coaching programs. And so like I said in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how you can turn your hobbies into either side incomes or full-blown businesses. So before we jump into the steps and kind of like a live example that I want to be able to go through, I just want to quickly share how my wife and I turned our hobbies into a business. And what that really started with was blogging. And so blogging was something that Haley really liked to do. She loved reading them and the pictures and the aesthetic. Nothing crazy happened right off the bat. It was just a hobby. But then from there, she started to see people were actually really making money with blogs. And then she found that people were making money with YouTube. But at that point, it really was still a hobby until Haley realized, she really could do this full time. And so we took some steps to be able to actually turn her hobby of being a YouTuber into actually being a full-time influencer. But basically it went from a hobby and something that we just enjoyed doing to a full-time business. Now we didn't really know it at the time, but there were specific steps that we know of now after our years of experience of doing and helping people to do something similar. There are steps that we've taken in order to be able to make this happen. And so now I want to be able to go through those with you guys. But before we get into the video, don't forget to do all the usual typical YouTube stuff. Subscribe to the channel if you want to know more about making money online with courses or products or something like that. And then be sure to like this video if you like it. All right. So the first thing that you want to do when you're trying to make money with your hobby is make sure that it's a hobby. Okay. Make sure that it's something that you are passionate about. You have to be a true hobbyist in order to be able to turn this into a business, because you need to know everything inside and out. You need to be super passionate about it. If passion can fuel things, it can really fuel you through the tough times or through the beginning stages. So really think about it. If you already have a hobby and you know that you have a hobby, that's awesome. But if you kind of don't, or you go in between things, try to think about what it is you are truly passionate about, or what you really think you might have the most skills in. And so a couple of things to consider when you are picking your idea is that you don't have to be like the top of the top #1 expert in your field. Okay. It's very rare to be the #1 expert, but you do have to at least know more than the person that you're going to be teaching. You need to know at least just more than the person that you're selling to. When you are coming up with your idea, it's okay to be able to go through this and do this as you're learning. Okay. You don't have to be, again, fully done with your journey in terms of being an expert on whatever it is that you're doing. If you're always refining your craft, it's okay to sell and try to monetize your hobby as you're refining your craft. People would actually like to see that. They might not want to learn, and they might be intimidated from someone who's the very top of the top. And instead they want to be learning from somebody who's kind of just getting into the game, or somebody who is kind of just a couple steps ahead that might be a little bit more within reach. And so like I said earlier, I want to be able to give you guys kind of like a live working idea as I'm going through this video. I am a hobbyist, okay? Haley calls me a hobbyist. She always talks about how just deeply rooted and obsessed I get with every little hobby that it is that I do. So I picked up this hobby with wherever the screen is, this little guy that's right here. So this is a little model kit, and it's a model kit of a thing called a Gundam. It's pretty awesome. I just picked it back up for fun, and it's kind of a small hobby, but I'm already getting obsessed with it. But that's not the hobby that I want to be able to talk about with this example. The hobby that I want to talk about is keyboards. So I have a bit of a problem. And it's that I love keyboards as a hobby. I know it sounds weird. A lot of you guys aren't going to get this, but basically I'm obsessed with building and basically customizing keyboards. So I have like a keyboard that's here that's in black with an acrylic back. And then I have a full-size keyboard. And then I have 2 more keyboards that are right here. Hopefully you're getting the point. Up above my head here, that's right here, these are all different switches that make different sounds for the keyboards. This is the enthusiasm that you need to be able to find when you're picking your idea for your hobby. So the passion that I have for keyboards is kind of off the charts. I'm always looking for different sounds, different styles, different keycaps, different formats. I want the feeling to be different. Again, that's the passion that you need for your hobby if it's going to be something that you want to turn into a business. But I just got into the hobby myself. It's not something that I've been doing for years, and I don't know everything that there is, but I feel like I would be pretty decent at doing this and at least, being able to do something for people who are newer to the hobby. So now that you've picked up what your hobby is, it's time to do a little bit of competitive research. You don't really ever want to reinvent the wheel. You want to be able to look at somebody to make sure that somebody has already validated the market. And if somebody has already done that work for you, it'll just make things much easier. So this is as easy as basically just going to like Instagram and looking for people that are doing what you do. Go to YouTube and see what people are doing. And basically you want to find somebody who's doing something on social, and you want to see if there's popularity for it, if there's demand for it, and if people are looking for it. Now demand's going to vary. Okay. You're not going to have 2 million people that are trying to build little model kit anime things, but you might find a decent amount of people that are willing to be able to pay for something. And that's basically what you're doing, is just saying, is your niche validated because there are people making content about it? So to continue with my example, if we're talking about keyboards, there's actually a ton of demand for keyboardists, and there's actually a ton of demand for people to create content about keyboards, especially on YouTube. But basically that idea has been validated because there are a ton of people and a ton of very popular channels about it. So on top of basically just seeing like if people have social channels or basically social media about it, you want to see if they are potentially making money in any way, and what are the different ways that they're making money. Are they making money strictly based off of like commissions, or are people paying them for a service? Do they have a course or a coaching program? How is it that they're making money based off of this community that they're building? And that leads us into our third point here to turn your hobby into a business, which is you have to be able to create community around your hobby and around what it is that you're doing. So the best way to be able to build a community around this is honestly just to provide value to it. Start talking to people about it, start teaching people on it, really get excited and start posting about it and being able to find other people to connect with that are in this hobby with you. And that's the beauty of being able to do something with hobbies, is that if there are other hobbyists that are out there that are like you, which I'm sure that there are, they're going to be equally as passionate about it as you are. And so it's going to be super easy to actually get into the community and to connect. And basically you just want to start building a small community of your own. And so you do that by providing tips, by providing tricks, by sharing like your experiences, by showing off the work that you do, by doing highlights, whatever it is that has to do with your hobby. You basically just want to be able to be giving about it. First and foremost, be very giving with everything that you're doing. And from there, you basically are going to start building your brand, and you're going to start nurturing an audience that's not just full of followers, but full of potential buyers. And so the way you do that is really just about being able to connect with them. You need to build what's called your know, trust factor. They need to like you, they need to know who you are, and they need to trust you within whatever your niche is. And so if I were to build a community around keyboards, I would be talking about everything. I'd be doing things like the build reviews, and I'd be doing parts reviews and product reviews and how-tos, ASMR videos of typing, because people think it's really therapeutic. So there's a ton of different options for me to be able to do things around keyboards to be able to build a community. So now that you've started to build a community, and now that you started to really connect with people, and you're starting to increase your like, know, trust factor, the fourth thing that you need to do is you actually need to survey your audience to be able to see what they really need from you. Now, I know that this sounds kind of weird, okay, because you're already creating certain types of content. Your people are going to be, enjoying your content or commenting or doing things or liking your photos, whatever it is. But again, you need to be building a community of potential buyers. And in order to be able to find buyers, or really in order to be able to sell to them and be able to market to them, you need to know what their problems are and what they're looking for and what they want to be able to get from you. What can you help them with? So you can do this in a lot of ways. You can, put comments in your YouTube videos saying, what problems are you facing? You could put up polls on Instagram, or you can put up like a question sticker. There's a lot of things that you can do to survey your audience to be able to see what they need help with. And then once you have an idea of what you can help with, you got to ask yourself a couple of simple questions. So the first thing being, well, is that something that I can actually help them fulfill? Can I fulfill the demand for a solution to that problem? And if I can help them with that solution, then what's the A to B? What's the transformation that happens? What's the current state that they're in, and what's the dream state that it is that they're looking for? Like, are you able to clearly map that out? One of the ways that you can think about this is, how is it that you can actually make their lives easier with whatever kind of like problem it is that they're facing. And as you're going through this and as you're kind of like putting the pieces together, you did do some research before, but what you want to do is you want to basically like specialize your offering. You want to be able to make your offering a one-of-one solution. What that means is you are the only person that provides this specific type of solution. Now, I know that could be kind of hard to do, but with certain marketing and with the way that you can kind of phrase things, or with the problems that you address, or the people that you speak to, it is possible to create a one-of-one offering even in a saturated market. So if we're sticking with the theme of keyboards, if I went onto my keyboard channel and I put up a poll on YouTube and I was like, hey, what do you guys need help with on your keyboards? People might say things like, I'm looking for like the best products, or I'm looking to be able to learn how to build them a little bit more. If people are saying like, hey, it really takes me like, I don't have 15 hours to sit there and to build a keyboard. I don't have the time and the money to source everything and find the perfect stuff. Like, I just want like a finalized product, but they don't sell these custom. Like, it's very hard to find these custom. I can sit back and think, well, how could I fulfill the demand for that? Well, I could help people source products, and there are websites that have been out there that kind of source products for people. That's pretty awesome. But something that people actually do too is they actually build keyboards for people. They do commissions for people. So basically what you'd be selling there is a type of service, and it'd be like a keyboard building service where you actually kind of put them together and they send you the parts, or you source the parts for them and put everything together and then ship it back to them. And it could be like a full-blown service where you kind of build a la carte or very custom keyboards. And so that would be making their life really easy, and you could specialize it in some way. There aren't very many people that are doing this. And like I said, you could be the person that sources them. There's a lot of different things that you can do to kind of specialize your offering. And so like, let's say that you don't want to go through and do a type of service. Well, maybe you sell a course that is basically how to do this, how to build custom keyboards for other people. That's always another option that you have. And just a side note, if you are interested in setting up your own course or coaching business, that's exactly what Haley and I do. We help people to start online courses and coaching businesses. There's a link in the description below to a free training where you can go check it out and see what it's all about and how it works, and learn all about our program and how we might be able to help you, and you guys can book a call. And so that process that I was going through right there is actually kind of the fifth step. How exactly are you going to monetize your hobby? You really have to think about that based on what's currently trending within the market, what are people doing that's successful, and then what does your audience need? So you need to determine, am I going to do some type of service, or am I going to do something that's more passive, like building an online course, or is there a product that I might be able to create that's needed within the market? I mean, within the keyboard market, there's actually a lot of cool little products that come out to basically make the quality of life easier when building keyboards, when building custom keyboards. So think about that too. Is there something that the user might be able to have or to be able to need or use that could make the process of the hobby easier? It doesn't have to be something that's just the hobby itself. It can be something that's kind of attached or a tangent to the hobby. And so the final step to being able to turn your hobby into a business is really just to have the mindset of turning your hobby into a business. I know that sounds kind of lame, kind of sounds like a cop-out, but mindset is what really kind of separates those who are successful from those who aren't. So the first thing that you need to do when you're turning your hobby into a business is realize that, hey, it's time to start treating this like a business. Maybe you need to invest a little bit more in it. Maybe you need to start taking it more seriously. Maybe you need to start writing a little bit more, or you need to crank out that last video, or you need to put up that last Instagram post, or you need to sit down and actually kind of map out what your business is going to look like. You need to set goals. You need to be able to have kind of thoughts as to where you think that you want this to go, because if you don't have any goals, you're not going to get anywhere. So one of the most essential things that you need to be able to do is just treat this like a business and not like a hobby. And so from there, think about how you're going to market your program or your product or your service or whatever it is that you're doing with your business, because there is a bit of a difference from being the person that is using it or being the hobbyist to the person that is selling to the hobbyist. But you have the benefit of being somebody that's deep in whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, so because you have that benefit, you should be able to speak exactly to their problems. If you can articulate somebody's problems better than they can think about it themselves, and you can get them to say, yeah, you know, that's right. That's actually exactly how I feel. And that's exactly what my problem is. Then you have something that you're able to offer people and that they actually need. So think about that with your hobby too. Okay, so what is it that I can actually be able to provide them, but how can I market to them? How can I explain their problems to them better than they can so that they really need whatever it is that I'm offering? So the final little, like, I guess, piece of advice that I have here, or step that you need to be able to take in order to successfully turn your hobby into a business, is to just have the expectation that there's going to be challenges. Okay, this is something that is going to be hard. You have to build a community, you have to find the right hobby, you have to create the right business. And I don't want it to sound like it's not going to be worth it, because it will totally be worth it. Okay, if it is a hobby, your hobby, or a passionate hobby, your passion will drive you through everything that's challenging. But if you know that there's challenges that's going to be coming, you manage your expectations, you're going to do fine. And so a last little tip to you guys, if you're going to go out there and try to turn your hobby into a business, is that keep in mind, people want to learn from you. Okay, you have your own place in the market, and you have people that are out there that need to learn from you. You have a unique story, okay? You have a unique background, and you have a unique take on things. And if you have a hobby or something, or a skill that can be turned into a business that can help people, or that can provide people with some immense value, or something that they would really like, it's kind of your job to go out there and help them with that by starting one of these businesses. So keep that in mind. People do want to hear from you. You yourself are unique. Even if it's a super saturated market or whatever you want to say, you can be successful in it. And so that's what I have for you guys on how to turn your hobby into a business. If you guys like it, again, feel free to like the video, subscribe if you want to know more about online courses and coaching and just online business in general. And if you really are interested in starting your own online course or business, again, in the description below, check out our free masterclass that we have in there. We talk about our step-by-step process on how we're turning our business into a 7-figure online business. So I'm going to leave that with you guys. I got to get back to my hobbies. I'll catch you guys next time.